Hello friends, in my previous lecture about community based palliative care system, I spoke about three things, that is community, volunteers and caregivers. About the role of community has been already explained to you in that particular lecture, and now we see what is the role of volunteers, which people can be called as volunteers. A volunteer is defined as a person who donates his or her time, energy and expertise. Three things: time, maybe 2 hours a day; energy, it can be any sort of energy. It can be financial, it can be educational; and expertise. If there is no expertise, he can be trained to gain some expertise. So, these three things are being provided by him voluntarily, and no money is asked for that, non-remunerative. It is selfless service towards a common cause through an organization, institution or any association, etc. So, 3-4 things are very clear to you. Volunteer works voluntarily, selflessly. He does not work for any gain, for any fame, any position or money. Second, what does he donate? What does he give? Three things: he gives his time, he gives any energy, any help, whatever is required, which is capable of giving, and third is if he is expert or if he can be trained. So, these three things can be given by this volunteer. He works for a common cause where people work. It is basic. When we say common cause, it is a social service. And lastly, he can work independently also. Sometimes he can work under an organization. Volunteering, my dear friends, it is a voluntary act, and therefore he is called being a volunteer. There is no force applied that you have to do this. No, there is no compulsion as such. It is a voluntary act of an individual giving time and labor free of cost for community services. Often volunteers need specific training naturally, and certain groups, they do provide that training to the volunteers. Often volunteers need specific training in the areas they work, such as medicine, education or emergencies. Others serve on edge and when needed without any motive or profit. So, the volunteers particularly working for palliative care, they are being trained on certain duties to provide psychological and social supports, and they are being empowered to provide basic nursing care to the needy patients at their homes. Now, you must be wondering, why do people volunteer? Why do people do such things? Voluntarism is not a new thing. I mean, it was started much earlier, and then later on we know the example of Mahatma Gandhi, father of our nation. In 1892, he went to South Africa basically to earn money as an advocate. But after being insulted number of times, he became a social worker, and then he remained a social worker till he lived till 1947. Why did he do that? Yes, he had a cause. With the help of people, he wanted to give freedom to our nation. And not only that, he did lots of social activities also at the same time. He worked for poor people. He did not believe in caste system. He wanted villages to move forward. So many things he did. He was the biggest volunteer of India. Let us see, where do these volunteers want to work? As per the survey of 2010, or 93% volunteers, they want to make some sort of contribution to this community, society. 77, they want to use their skills and expertise, whatever they know, and that particular knowledge they want to make use of for the happiness of the people. 59%, they are personally affected by cause or mandate. Sometimes, through your personal experience, you participate in social activities. Like if your area comes under flood number of times, you also become a sort of volunteer for helping the flood affected people. 50% of young people, they want to explore their own strength. Yes, can I do this? Because it is a challenging task, it is a noble cause. So, they want to see whether they are capable of doing that or not. 48%, they want to meet people, because volunteering, you need teamwork, you have got so many people to work around. 47% friends volunteer. When your friend becomes a volunteer, automatically you say, oh, this is a good thing, let me volunteer so that I can be with my friend. 23% improve job opportunities in certain places, even in corporate sector, in certain educational institution, they give priority to the candidates who have worked for social activities. And 22% to fulfill religious obligations or belief, because in any religion they always say that you must help out the poor people, needy people. So, that is our belief system. Your role, basically in short words, you are a passion detective. Passion means what do you really want to do to please your heart? What do you want to do which really appeals your heart? And you find out and you see through the lens, yes, where can I get the happiness by doing something what I really need to do. Second, you are a connector, because volunteering you have to connect with other people. In palliative care you have to connect with the patient, you have to connect with the family members of the patient, you have to connect with other volunteers and other caregivers, health workers. Facilitator, this is a challenging task. You facilitate so many things, you facilitate the patients to become happy, you facilitate the whole family to become self-supportive, you help them in their educational needs. Let us see role of volunteers in detail. Volunteers, though not counselors, can be trained to listen compassionately to whatever the patient and members of the family may choose to share. We cannot call them as counselor, but of course, because of their passionate work and what they feel in their heart, they feel connected with their miseries. We can say really they know, they have the feelings of empathy and compassion in them. While they do not under any circumstances replace the professionals on the team, they represent the face of caring community and bring a much needed human touch to the care of the seriously ill and dying patients. So, here one wants to say that no, they cannot replace the medical fraternity. Whatever medical care is required, that will be given by medical professionals, except very basic nursing care can be given by volunteers, provided they have been trained for such a task. However, they will provide human touch by staying closer and by helping them whenever they need. In fact, they know most of the patients of their community, their family members, so they feel really very connected, and that connection which comes to the heart makes them to provide human touch to them. In cases where a volunteer does not wish one-to-one contact with a patient or family members, he or she can perform practical tasks for patients and their families, including office duties and promotional work like fundraising. Right? There are certain volunteers who do not want to provide medical facility to the patient, so they can work for the organization, they can be drivers of the ambulance. Provide an opportunity to the patient and the family to talk over issues that may be troubling them. As they stay closer, they spend lots of time with the patient and family members. In the normal routine chat, whenever they talk, they generally talk about the issues which are troubling them, and he might provide them some sort of support, psychological support. Offer practical advice and support to family members as well as fill in for them. Get medical equipment, supplies and nutritional supplements for those with special needs. Mobilize the local community to offer support in a variety of ways. So, the volunteers meet the local people, they apprise them what is really required by those patients, and they generate enough funds to buy that support. Offer bereavement counseling to grieving relatives. After the death of the patient, they always provide lots of psychological and social support to the affected families. Why involve volunteers? To get the best of support, better output, because they are connected by human touch and they also belong to the same community generally. Passing on the baton, volunteers keep on passing. Yes, one stops volunteering, he asks somebody else to volunteer, and it is a sort of networking which makes social network stronger and stronger. Benefit of the patients, for the benefit of having volunteers for the patients and carers, for the units providing palliative care for the family as well as for the community. Who can become a volunteer? Students in higher secondary classes and above. I written higher secondary classes because they are enough grown up and they have enough knowledge how to behave with the society in general and with patients and their families in particular. Persons otherwise employed but can spare their time. We spoke about that minimum 2 hours a day if you can provide, you can be gainfully employed as a volunteer. Those who are retired from active career, who can spare that leisure time for such activities. People who are retired from the long services, they are enough comfortable and well settled in their homes. Now, what to do next? So, this is a better opportunity to pass their time happily and giving some contribution to the society. Who can establish new centers in needy areas, who can travel. Yes, you should be strong enough. If you have got some transport, much better. Opt for higher learning if you want to learn something new. Who can manage resources, you can speak fluently in the regional language. This is very important. And generally, if the volunteers will be coming from the same locality, but if you are coming from outside and if you want to stay there permanently or for a longer duration, my advice to such volunteers is to learn the local language, so they can get really connected with that, who are drawn from the same region. How do we involve volunteers in palliative care? We have to identify the motivation of volunteers. We have to identify the rewards. After all, of course, we say that there is no motive, there is no money involved in volunteerism, but other rewards are there. Other rewards are there. You appreciate their services. How do you appreciate? The ways and means. By explaining the impact of volunteering for social causes, tell them your work, such volunteerism is doing wonders with the patients of palliative care. How do you identify motivation? Set your priorities, do things that make difference, develop sense of belonging to create loyalty and motivation to continue, do a job and remain active by giving proper feedback timely, offer constructive ideas for improving services and helping making decisions and solving problems of the patients. How to identify the rewards? I said earlier, recognition, some sort of appreciation, pat on the back or anything, even a certificate. Sharing knowledge and skills, you give additional opportunities to learn different skills, and networking opportunities, involve them as team leaders and let them interact with other NGOs to bring up a better network. Community workers, volunteers, they provide emotional support because they belong to the same community, and passion is in their heart. They have got empathy and compassion. Basic nursing training is being provided to them during their training period. They follow up of professional home care. They generally, whatever professional home care people do, they just follow up and take the actions, linking up with the professional team whenever that professional team is needed by the doctor, by the patients, and they provide spiritual and social support to the patients and the affected family. How do they provide social support to the affected family? Let us see what are the ways and means. They can provide, they can get food from the neighbors, and somehow they can provide the tiffin services to the family whenever needed. Emotional support for the children. When elders are sick and cannot go out, children feel little they are in need of some good company. So, that is where some sort of educational support can be provided, helping with transport to go to the hospitals, linking with other support groups to get additional support measures like fundraising or etc., helping to make potential benefit from government NGOs available, rehabilitation and bereavement. If they are not interested in doing actual service for the patients or the families, they can do some work in the NGO teams. Regular awareness program, they can take part in that, and such programs are being conducted by NGOs regularly. Training the family members to look after the patient. So, they can train, they can be part of the training team who trains the caregivers. Caregivers are those people who are very close to the family members, and they happen to stay there day and night with the patient. They can be useful in training volunteers. They can provide administrative support to the NGOs, NGO headquarters, and they can help in fundraising. Impact of volunteering, you get bliss of happiness, bliss. Not only happiness, much more than happiness is the bliss, anand, paramanand, that is what we call. Life is beautiful and so you are, and help others to help yourself in enjoying the life. After all, we support each other, that is how we are social animal. So, by helping others, by making others happy, I am certain, I experienced many times that I also become happier, you also become happier. If you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to be a fast person, like fast means you have to go alone because other people cannot catch up with you. But then you become a lonely person. But if you want to go very far, go together. Very far means happiness. If you want to gather happiness in your life, then by working together, by making other people happy, by helping them, you can go very far and you become a very happy, contented person. Thank you.